Welcome to Security Field Day 13. I'm Rick Vanover from Veeam, and
I'm Emily Tejas.
we are going to talk about some future innovations coming from Veeam. We got some time permitting about security and more. Let's get into it. We only have one slide for the future. It's more of a dialogue, yeah? I think.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So it's hard to pick a favorite here, but I will tell you, coming off of VeeamON recently, the fan favorite is the new Veeam Software Appliance. So if you're just tuning in, we walk through a number of different capabilities of some Veeam innovations and some ecosystem integrations, as well as the Veeam Difference of Cover by Veeam. One of the biggest technology undertakings we've ever gone into is what's coming later this year of a Veeam Software Appliance. And we started this journey in 2023 with the first preview, I think, maybe 24. And it's really running the core of our platform on Linux. Okay, so that's a big change. You know, it's a Windows app right now. But what I really like is that we really have reimagined the delivery process of that. So yes, it's nice that .NET services can be ported to Linux and run on new platforms. But what would you do in 2025 for something like this? So what we are doing is we're making a Veeam Software Appliance that's running on Rocky Linux, DISA STIG hardened, and we got a head nod with that one. And all it does is run the Veeam app or the storage all in one or split separate. And we're really excited for this capability because this will really provide the backup infrastructure and additional fortitude of itself being protected. Now, again, we have best practice analyzer now, we have all these other things. But if the delivery model is truly secure by default, we're taking a major step forward. And when we had our VeeamON event, we did some previews of that. It was by far the fan favorite.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and I think the biggest piece in here, right, is for all of our customers that are truly, they love the fact that Veeam is always flexible because we were always delivered as a software model, but having that additional opportunity to now have that be installed on Linux, something that they can manage, they can still choose their own hardware, they can choose to deploy it as a virtual machine, right? We're still giving them that freedom of choice. But from the other side of things, security patching, right? Well, that's the last thing I want to do is now I have to go and I have to patch a whole nother server. Well, the benefit with the new Veeam Software Appliance is that Veeam's going to handle all the security patching for customers itself. So it'll be a forced update that they will see. They'll be able to choose the date and time in which they want it to take place, but there'll be a set timeline for them for those updates to happen. So something that they can kind of take off their plate, not have to worry about, but then also still have the benefit of it being fully secure and managed.
And organizations can pull that off the internet or set up a local distribution server for that because current best practice is not connecting the Veeam server to the internet. But what I'll say about the updates part is it's going to be both, think about the surface area of this, what we're calling a Veeam Software Appliance as well, is, version updates. And, currency is so important. I'll be the first to say, we're a software company. We've had vulnerabilities and we've fixed them. But I've also talked to organizations that haven't fixed them. And, people just throw things in and walk away, and that's the worst practice. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to prevent users from being users in a way in this regard and having this hardened surface area, automated updates. And I'll also say that a lot of Veeam's alliance partners, specifically compute and storage, are really interested in this because they're going to look into some bundled systems. We already have launched what we call the Veeam Ready Appliance qualification. So we already have 5 server platforms that are qualified to run Veeam as a physical appliance. I see a lot of orgs probably going to look at a virtual appliance as well. I'm absent of a recommendation. Of course, the actual answer is it depends on what is the best mode. But the fact that this is hardened by default, the fact that this is purpose-built to be that Veeam server and those associated roles, and it's on Linux, it's a lighter footprint, one less thing to have to update. The market is super, super excited for that one.
So Rick,
Jack
Poller with Paradigm Technica. I love the concept of a hardened appliance that you can use, though feels maybe a little bit dated in that a lot of organizations are moving beyond appliances and virtual machines towards containers. Can you give me a thought process about containerization and where you are in thought process of versus containers?
Kubernetes, drink. So Jack, great question. Number one, the Windows consumption model doesn't go away. Okay, so what has gotten us to 1.7 billion? Well, that's not the only product, but what's gotten us here will stay in market. This is an option, so that's point number one. Number two, it is reasonable to expect in the future that additional consumption models of this product hosted as a service would use Kubernetes. Okay, now where I'm going with that is an important part of our portfolio is the Veeam Data Cloud. And the tech business leader of that actually built our Kubernetes backup product, Veeam Kasten for Kubernetes. Trust me, it's come up internally, but on scale with the ephemeral nature of it, it feels like in the as a service model is the way and place to do it. But for on-prem, roll your own. I don't know if the market's there yet. We're looking for, yes, password, and okay. I think that's the test to do this right now. You know, 2 OKs and a password. That's how low tech, low barrier of entry we're making this option for people. But you know, that's no for now, but not no forever and not no everywhere, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So if you look down the roadmap, will the Windows version be discontinued, or will you have two parallel?
The plan is parallel.
Yeah.
But there will be, at this time, we're aware of one capability that will only be available in the Veeam Software Appliance model, and that is due really to technical limitations of it's a high availability capability. Emily showed this at VeeamON. You can go to VeeamON.com just for a little bit more, and you can watch the replays just until May 30th. But the thought is we could have two backup servers, HA to each other with background Postgres synchronization. That gets ugly in Windows. So right now there's a capability that was planned only for the Veeam Software Appliance. I don't think there's any others that are planned currently.
That's the only one that I...
Yeah, but generally parity is planned. Any other questions on that appliance, or especially I got the chat up if Andre or Tyler as well have any comments. So we'll talk about the next innovation coming from Veeam, and we showed this at VeeamON as well. And this is a future integration, probably beyond 2025, but we're going to introduce a universal continuous data protection. So the thought is this Veeam data platform that protects data, great. Continuous data protection is kind of that holy grail in my world of protecting data, down to 2 seconds. I showcased the preview of this technology at VeeamON, replicating a system from my desk in Ohio to our data center in Prague on our own Veeam corporate network. And I was able to do that with a 1-minute RPO with 0 misses for a week. And that's on an early build beta. So that's really exciting. Physical systems, any hypervisor can replicate to another system that way. The current first target will be for VMware environments and also server environments, but we also have active projects going right now to target other systems, including hyperscalers. So it will be a game changer for some continuous data protection use cases. So we're pretty excited about that.
We'll say we support CDP today, though.
Correct.
So we do support that through VMware VAIO filter driver. So how majority of everybody else supports CDP that is currently supported today. This is just taking it one step outside of VMware scope, right? And looking at a way that we could utilize it across the ecosystem.
Yeah, good shout. Existing VMware capabilities been in the market for a good 4 or 5 years, so or more actually. So it's really exciting there. And then the last innovation is around AI. And I think I want to just kind of get the world thinking. We have a really interesting data fabric that we're working with. If we're backing up most of the organization's estate, it's really interesting what we could potentially do with that. But there's also a lot of concerns, you know. And I'll tell you the first hole in our AI story, which this isn't AI Field Day, but stay tuned. We have not really gone public with our responsible AI statement. That's what's missing right now. I'll be the first to say that. Our leadership team's working on that. But when we start get in and analyzing customer data in the cloud, that changes the game. So we're on the edge of some really important stuff here for Veeam Guardian. But I will say that Ben, a colleague on our team, did a preview of an innovation here. The scenario was it was SharePoint data hosted in Microsoft 365, backed up by Veeam Data Cloud. And he basically was talking to the data and generating output that, you know, I know how to use Veeam, but if I was trying to answer, these are basically e-discovery is what this walks into. I was trying to answer questions about this data. It would have taken me a week to do that, and I know how to use Veeam. But he was able to make short work of that and truly talk to the data. So I think that, you know, as a backup provider, balancing the, you know, the responsibility that comes with providing deep insights to customer data and then the power of AI, we're really on the edge of some pretty attractive future capabilities. You know, you'll also see across our portfolio, every product is moving fast. You know, we just released our Kubernetes product at Red Hat Summit last week or two. And, you know, when you think about keeping that data safe, that data resilience story, we're trying to bring it in all these different places. The portfolio is the biggest it's ever been, and it's a wild time. So any questions on any of the future innovations? And really anything we've talked about here, we do have a little bit of time left, but yeah, Lars.
Do you have Orchestrator integration for all these new products?
We've have an orchestrator integration for all these products. Yeah. So part of the Veeam data platform is a product called Veeam Recovery Orchestrator. So Orchestrator helps you to be able to build customized playbooks. So if we need to be able to recover specific applications or a stack of applications, we can go ahead and we can do that. And you can actually set up different types of planned steps, and you can issue things like YAR rules to be able to scan across multiple iterations of those recovery points, and then it'll build out documentation on the back end. So that way a customer will have all of that documentation, plus they could see a good audit trail of what things have changed. Are we going to be able to meet SLAs? Are we going to be able to meet RTOs or RPOs, or are those missing? So the Veeam Recovery Orchestrator is part of the Veeam data platform, and we see customers utilizing that. The other piece is also working with just those third-party security partnerships of them building out their own playbooks as well.
Lars, one other comment on the orchestrator is it solves some of the fundamental basic problems that are out there. Like this product for a good 6 or 7 years has had automated daily recovery point objective and recovery time objective validation. We've all been there. We implement something day one. Hey, it's good. We'll go home. Let's check day 93.
Yeah.
You know, with like 10% growth every day and things like that. This will catch when the 2-hour RTO is now 2 hours and 1 minute. The good news is Veeam can scale and we can bring that number down. But this product will catch that and make sure it's free with malware. So it's good stuff. Any other questions, comments, observations? And I personally want to ask a specific question. You know, Karen, I've known you for a while. Fernando, I've known you, and you're different because I talk to you often. But my hope is that the first question I started with, have you seen Veeam lately? My hope is that this is a different Veeam, or maybe more than what you would expect from a backup product. That's the goal of what we wanted to bring here today. So, and same goes for the audience online. That's our goal. You know, for this security world, we're a credible, I wouldn't say player. We're not a security platform, but what we are is a very important signal to a security process, whether it's the integrations, the innovations, or the Veeam Difference with Coveware by Veeam. I mean, we're definitely that secret weapon, I think, that's part of the solution.
Yeah. So let me eat up your last few.
Go for it,
here.
Tony. Bring it on.
And I'm sure this is a very subjective sort of question, but you guys seem like you have a ton of awesome capabilities, and you're right. I had no idea Veeam was doing so much, right? I know Veeam is doing VMware backups.
That's what I'm trying to fix.
But you know,
Yeah.
But I don't deal with Veeam, so I'm not plugged in. So my question is, licensing and pricing model. I mean, you guys showcased a lot of different features and integrations and things. Does each of those come with an add-on SKU, or is it, you know, we pay an annual and we get everything in the box, or
There's
what?
2 top shelf offerings. No.
Okay.
The first one is Veeam Cybersecure, and you might have noticed I kind of caught when she had that slide up that says that's a package. It includes the warranty. That one is top shelf offering.
Okay.
And then there's this other thing called premium, right? And I'll tell you, we are really smart on this pricing. We made this thing called the universal license. This is a Windows workstation. This is 1/3 of a Windows or 1/3 of a Veeam universal license. An EC2 instance in the cloud is one universal license. A physical Oracle database is one. A VM is one. Everything else is one. 500 terabytes of data is one from NAS standpoint. So it becomes really easy to say, I don't know how many systems I have. I don't know, 20,000? I'll buy 20,000 VUL, and then there's even built-in grace, and I get that premium, which has the orchestration, has immutability. I think if the customer goes in informed with the goal of being resilient, the price is not an issue. It's not a nickel and dimer, I'll tell you that.
You know, and with that in mind, you know, what should an organization, what should their spending target be to be able to, you know, from their IT budget, to be able to meet, you know, what is you guys' what did you call it? Premium? No, what was above premium?
Veeam Cybersecure.
Yeah, the white glove stuff.
Well, I mean, I'd say you know, it depends.
I mean, of course it depends, but I mean, here's the thing: is like, you know, there's only so much budget, and we have security, we have infrastructure, there's storage, there's all the field days stuff, you know.
Usually data protection.
And now there's backups, right? So if we're doing more than just backups, you know, how much of the budget should we be spending in case we get hit by ransomware and we need to back up?
That's actually a good question from a, let's just call it a predictive FinOps from a resiliency perspective. I don't have an answer, but I can tell you that usually and Emily has a sales background, maybe you can help me here, but I'd say that our spend, our cost, I should say, usually sits in the very high single digit to very low double digit percentage of when a customer says, I'm going to do all of this. Okay. Forget their staffing costs. But when you go out, the backup TAM is high single to low double digit, quote unquote, that percentage of a deal. You know, because we go in, we're talking to people buying servers and storage and applications and all that.
Not even that. I have multiple conversations now with the CISO, right? They're spending their budget, and that's what's funding their data protection, data resilience strategy, and versus it coming directly out of IT operations. So now it becomes an even, you know, bigger conversation of, okay, well, do we want to make sure that we could actually perform a recovery, because that's going to impact, you know, what we do from an incident response play, and then the other portions of it with Coveware and the retainer services. So a lot of that information all comes into consideration. But for the most part, yeah, from what Rick said, the universal licensing is very unique. But then on top of that, we could also help customers if they decide to change or move, right? We're on-prem today, we go into AWS. Guess what? That universal license, you don't have to go and buy a whole new thing to protect all your AWS workloads. We can help you with that migration, and those licenses can stay with those workloads or be repurposed.